Hey guys, it's James Wade, author of All Things Left Wild, and doing a little video here as part of the Lone Star Literary Tour, and wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the book, about writing. I've got some questions here I'm going to be playing off of for this conversation, and I'm a little bit better writer than I am speaker, so forgive me and bear with me a little bit. But the first question we've got is, what cultural value do you see in books, writing, reading, storytelling? And I think that obviously it's important, not just as a writer, but as a human being. I think that storytelling is essentially our greatest evolutionary tool. Those first humans that learned what to do and what not to do based on storytelling that was handed down generationally. For us, we still have those stories that are handed down, but our stories may be less to do with how not to burn the village down and more to do with looking at ourselves, right? Analyzing our emotions, seeing ourselves outside of ourselves, seeing other people, and hopefully showing them empathy, hopefully more understanding. Not to mention we've got, laws, currencies, our entire societies are built on some form of written communication, some supposition of thought and ideas that were passed down and crafted, and we couldn't do any of that, without some version of storytelling, some version of reading and writing. So not just culturally in terms of the arts does this play a big part, but just in terms of the fabric of our whole society. Leave it to a writer to try to make it seem like this is the most important thing. The second question here is, how do you decide if your main character or characters will be male or female? That one's pretty easy for me. If they are smart, strong, emotionally resilient, they're female. And that's it, kind of like in real life. How does your book relate to your faith, spiritual practice, or life path? It's a good question. Much of what I write is predicated on philosophical trials of existence, right? And so in approaching that and taking that on, obviously I'm gonna cross narratives with religion, with mythology, bump up against those things and, see which way my characters are gonna fall. I don't ever want to come across as condescending. I don't think that helps the narrative. I think that's a bad trait for an author. And so what I do allow the characters to do is basically just ponder the validity of certain conventional wisdoms, which I think everyone should do, right, at some point in their lives. And a recurring theme in all of my books is choice. And I like to kind of take a step back and look at how certain characters, either how they came to make a choice or how they came to the choice that they're about to make. In other words, so much of who we are and what we believe is based on, where we were born, who our parents are, how much money we have. We have all these things that shape us and therefore shape not just the choices that we confront, but the choices that we make. And which choice we make. And so I like to examine that and examine how much our choices were impacted by our past and by our circumstances. Oh, this is a good one. What do you want your tombstone to say? I think it was a privilege. I think that would say it all. It'd be enough. It was a privilege, and it is a privilege. Getting old is a privilege. Being alive is a privilege. What is something you want to accomplish before you die? Well, I just had a baby girl. I think by the time this is posted, my wife she's about to give birth like any day now. So I'm pretty sure by the time this is posted, I will be a father. And so what I want to do is be a good father. That's my number one thing that I'd like to accomplish. I don't know what that entails. And I don't know when I would say that I'm done with that. But yeah, now that my daughter's almost here, that is, just want to do right by her as long as I can. What is your favorite quote? I think maybe John Milton, Paradise Lost. He says, the mind is its own place and in itself can create a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven. And yeah, I really believe that. It kind of goes back to choice and circumstance. A lot of how we perceive our situations and circumstances is just based on how we see it in our minds, and our minds can be changed and swayed, and it's all really fascinating and also really Also really scary sometimes, to be locked away in there. Okay, do you have a mantra for writing and or for life? I do. My mantra for writing and life is balance. Too much any one way is bad, right? We're seeing that right now. We live in a society of extremes. We're reactionary, we're rigid, we can be really hurtful with our beliefs, and whether that's religious or political or societal. In that, I feel like almost every situation is going to be better if we stay calm, use level heads, and the best path forward is usually with patience and nuance. I think that same thing, because that's about life, and I think the same thing applies to writing, right? If you're going to tackle a grim, heavy theme, then you want to have some kind of, maybe a character or two with comic relief. And that's for you and your audience. The audience will appreciate it because it kind of breaks it up. And then also it'll help with your mental health a little bit, so you won't always be, down in the dirt and grime with your characters and your story. But anyway, those are just a few questions. I'd love to talk to you guys more. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me at jameswadewriter.com. All Things Left Wild is out now with Blackstone Publishing. And I just really appreciate you guys tuning in and giving this a listen. Thank y'all so much. Y'all stay safe. Read a book.